Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a massive alert to share with you in regards to the Black Lives Matter organization who is currently attempting to take over policies here in the United States of America and who have literally, shall I say, taken over the NBA. But with that, I've got Black leaders here who are ready to expose the roots of BLM. Not only that, there is a bombshell that has just surfaced out of China about the Black Lives Matter radical group. But before I get into it, just a quick break. The consumer reporting agency, Experian, has just revealed a major data breach. This breach exposed the information of over 24 million clientele, as well as 800,000 businesses who are now exposed to future phishing attempts. This should be a highlight to us all on how important it is to take care of our online identity. And the best thing you can do to protect that is to get a VPN. A VPN helps safeguard your information so businesses and websites are less likely to use your information against you. The VPN that I love and currently use and would recommend is Virtual Shield. And I literally have them turned on my computer 24/7 when I browse the internet. And you can get it right now at hidewithlisa.com. You see, the reason that I like Virtual Shield is because they throw away all their information within a 24-hour period. Not only that, but Virtual Shield has a strict no-log policy. Due to the recent pandemic, Virtual Shield is offering their products at 50% off. Not only that, but you get an automatic 30-day trial. So go to hidewithlisa.com and sign up today. All you have to do is click on that big red button, Start Now for free. Then click Select Your Plan. If you have 3 or less devices, then click Protect Yourself. But if you have 3 or more devices, then click Protect Your Family. Then pick the number of months that you choose. I personally recommend 24 months because it's the best deal for the best price at $2.50 a month. Then choose any add-ons you like. So go to hidewithlisa.com and sign up for that VPN today. All right, back to the broadcast. So just what are these bombshells being dropped about the Black Lives Matter movement? Well, let's start first with some of our Black leaders and the bombshells that they're saying about BLM. We'll take a look at this first article on WND.com, and it's titled, Black Leaders. Black Lives Matter is about overthrow of the United States of America and not race, which is something I've been stating on my channel all along. But this was very recently published September 15th, and here's what it says. Many Black leaders contend that the growing BLM movement isn't really about empowering Blacks. It's about destroying the American system and rebuilding it according to Marxist principles. The leaders recognize, points out Gateston Institute Senior Fellow Soren Karen, that BLM is an ideological descendant of the Black Power movement, the Black Panthers, and the Black Liberation Army, and the Weather Underground. Remember the Weather Underground who went and talked about blowing up things? These movements sought to overthrow the United States political movement. The focus of racial issues, Kern wrote, appears to be a smokescreen for much larger effort to dismantle the American economic, political, and social systems and rebuild them from scratch, according to Marxist principles. Again, this is something I've been saying ever since BLM came on the forefront years ago, right? But even more so this year, and I have been exposing them from day one. You see, the problem right now is 2/3 of the United States of America, at least according to a poll that I recently read, believe that Black Lives Matter is an organization that's truly all about only one thing, race and equality. But that is not the case for BLM. They are about Marxism, they are about radical ideology, and they're anti-capitalist. And that's some of the things that I want to point out. So if you know people who support them, lead them to this video and lead them to this information. Now, here's the Gateston Institute that kind of expands on what some of these Black prominent leaders are saying. And here's what it is. And these are quotes. While it might not be popular to stay in the wake of recent social disorder, the true plight of Black people has little or nothing to do with the police or what has been called systematic racism. Instead, we need to look at the responsibilities of those running our big city. This is Walter Williams. Here's another. Democratic-controlled cities have the poorest quality public education despite their large and growing school budgets. Consider Baltimore. It's the same story of academic disaster in other cities run by Democrats, which I again have been saying, Walter Williams. Our families have fallen to pieces. 75% of all Black children are born out of wedlock without a father. I don't care how many social programs you have, you're not going to overcome that. That's where we as Black Americans have to begin to take our fate back into our own hands and move it and stop crying racism. And I couldn't agree more. That was Shelby Steele from Hoover Institute. And I think that is a huge problem, statistically speaking, within the Black community. We have to start focusing on keeping those families together. And that's for everyone, right? Now, there's a couple of more I'll let you read on your own. But the article kind of gets into a little more of what I've been saying all along. A previous series revealed the anti-American agenda of Black Lives Matter, which, under the guise of fighting racism, seeks to transform the United States into a communist dystopia. BLM leaders openly admit that they want to abolish the nuclear family, police, prisons, and capitalism. BLM leaders have threatened to burn down the system if their demands are not met. Now, I put out a report earlier on Restricted Republic showing that basically these radical leftists have been spouting this kind of nonsense. We're not going to end these riots if fill in the blank, if Trump gets reelected or if fill in the blank, right? This is the kind of stuff they've been saying. The series also documented BLM's ideological influences and sources of funding. BLM have lifted much of its agenda from radical leftist groups active in the U.S. during the 60s and 70s. BLM is an ideological descendant, and I've said this, of Black Power movement, Black Panthers, and Black Liberation Army and Weather Underground, all of which sought to overthrow the United States political system. BLM's focus on racial issues seems to be a smokescreen for a much larger effort to dismantle the American economic, political, and social systems and rebuild them from scratch. And that is according to the Marxist principles there that they back and that they study and that they have trained themselves in. Let me remind you of what BLM co-founder Patrisse Cullors said about that ideology. Take a listen.
The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories. And I think that what we really try to do is build a movement that could be utilized by many, many Black folk.
Build a movement that could be utilized by them to accomplish their Marxist agenda, right? Here's more. Here's an article, and this is on New York Post, right, .com. Black Lives Matter leader, if change doesn't happen, then we will burn this system down. Talking about in the United States of America. Those are really fighting words, right? Then here's a picture of BLM co-founders and BLM leaders in a picture with Nicolas Maduro, right? This is a dictator of all dictators. Here we have some tweets sent out by co-founders of BLM members. And this is why I think what we really need to start exposing their tweets and what they're saying verbally. But here she is, Tanya, and she says, the only thing that will fix this is a revolution. Elections aren't revolution. In other words, we can't handle this through the ballot box. We have to handle this in some other revolutionary way. Here's Sacramento, Black Lives Matter. Ain't no kneeling pig gonna stop the revolution, right? I'm not going to say that word. Here's Black Lives Matter Tonto, in which they again talk about revolutions don't happen just once in a lifetime. May there be countless revolutions in our times toward Black liberation. And most importantly, may we never forget, and it names a couple of names there. Here's another one, Black Lives Matter Tonto, again, defund, disarm, dismantle, and abolish. They have the police there in BLM. Here's BLM Memphis. Get off our land, white men. Whew. That's a very racist statement, but yet Twitter allowed that to stay. Here's Tanya again. Capital can and should be used to fund the independence from capitalism and transition into community. But capital and capitalism shouldn't be the goal to fix the community. Emulating what they do won't fix us. We have to move differently and intentionally. This system was created to lift the rich at the expense of holding us down. We cannot change what has already been created. And at the top, the wealthy can only be the top wealthy because of our poverty and our oppression. She's just talking socialism here. What does that have to do with anything, right? But black dollar is great, but let's only look at money as a tool to attain liberation through community and not capitalism. Not capitalism. She is anti-capitalism. Right now, we have people claiming to care for our communities, capitalizing on our plight. Money has never saved us. Money has never exempted us from injustice. Money has never given us an actual seat at the table. You could have money and the police will still beat and the hospital will still not treat you like they're white patients. And she has #end capitalism. So if you are supporting this Black Lives Movement, then you are literally supporting the end of capitalism. But let me keep going here. Here is Melinda Abdullah again. She's linked with the Black Lives Matter organization. She is an organizer. This is an uprising, a rebellion, a revolt. Here is another group here. This is on Black Lives Matter. They basically work with Black Lives Matter. The movement for Black Lives formed in December 2014 was created as a space for Black organizers across the country. So they're working with them here. And at the very bottom of their page, they say, we are anti-capitalist. Anti-capitalists. Very clear about this. And this is an organization working with them. Here we have, regardless of all of that, regardless that they're anti-capitalist, regardless that they're admitted Marxists, regardless that they're trying to start a violent, radical revolution, if you will. Now, their website says they're not violent, right? But yet what they say and what they're doing in our streets right now are two different things. And you can blame it on whatever. But the fact of the matter is they're still being funded. Here's AP News. Black Lives Matter Network establishes a $12 million grant fund. This is recently June 2017. And then here's an entire list. This is September 16, 2020, of over 269 companies who are supporting the riots and the BLM. And these are all companies that have donated to them. And there's no way to boycott them all, right? But these are all the organizations right now. That's a whole heck of a lot. But on top of everything that I've just shared with you, here's another bombshell. How about the fact that they have linked themselves? If what I just showed wasn't power enough, how about the fact that they've just linked themselves with China, with the Communist Party of China? Here's the Washington Examiner, a report. BLM co-founder lobbying wing funded by pro-communist China group. And this is very recent, right? The co-founder of BLM, Alicia Garza, partnered with a pro-Chinese Communist Party group to fund their lobbying operations in the U.S. Black Futures, which I'm going to show you in the moment, the website, Black Futures Lab, started by Garza, which currently seeks to engage advocate organizations and legislators to advance local, state, and federal level policies, solicits donations in its website that are sent to a group called the Chinese Progressive Association, right? So let's go to their website, the Black Futures Lab website, so you can see what I'm talking about here. And here it is. And again, they are with the Black Lives Matter organization. They are, as this article says, a co-founder lobbying wing of BLM. And here they are. And what I want you to notice is this is their donation tab. If you go to Black Futures Lab and click that you want to donate, here's what it says right there. It says Black Future Lab is a fiscally sponsored product of the Chinese Progressive Association. Bang. At least they admit that they're in bed with the Communist Party, the Chinese Progressive Association. So all these companies who are donating money, the 269 companies donating money to the BLM, along with your average American out there who doesn't realize it are supporting Marxism, are supporting anti-American rhetoric, and are supporting anti-capitalist rhetoric. Look, it's time to wake up from your slumber. You either are with the United States of America or you're with China and communism. That's kind of the line that we're at. And so many people are asleep to what's truly going on. It is honestly time to wake them up. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.